benecha uvene chol ro'enu, v'tigmalenu chasadim tovim v'tismach kol tefilatenu, ki ata shomea tefilat kol peh. Baruch atah Adonai shomea tefilah. May you be blessed in all the work of your hands, with graciousness, kindness, and peace, and in eyes of all those who see you and all those who you see. May you always have your prayers heard. May you always be able to lift your voice up in prayer and song in Minneapolis, in South Korea, and anywhere you may journey. And together we're going to say Mazal Tov, but we're also going to say Nesiat Tova. We're going to say safe travels, safe journey. So we'll say together Mazal Tov and Nesiat Tova. My friends. Can join us on page 12. Join us on page 13.
Shir Adonai, Shir Hadash, Shir Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shir Adonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Basru Meyom Yeshua.
You can join us for Yedid Nefesh on page 332.
Yedi nefesh harachaman, Yedi nefesh harachaman, mishochadecha, eretz onecha, mishochadecha, yalalalai, eretz onecha. Yarutz avdecha, kemo hayal, yishtachaveh elai, yalalai, el muhadarecha. Yedi nefesh harachaman, Yedi nefesh harachaman, mishochadecha, eretz onecha, mishochadecha, yalalalai, eretz onecha. Yarutz avdecha, kemo hayal, yishtachaveh elai, el muhadarecha.
We'll turn in just a moment to the first piece of text on your inserts, Anam B'choach. And we'll say these words, tatir tserura, like unbind, untie, unwrap our tangles. And an invitation to just arrive in this moment, to notice if you'd like your body in this room, on the chair, to notice any of the tangles that might be coming into the room with you. And I've noticed sometimes when you try to untie tangles and you pull them, right, like with force, they get tighter. They like, whoosh, and then all of a sudden you have a worse knot. And an invitation, if and as you can, to just breathe into them, to let them relax, to give them some space to open up, to not feel like you have to pull them all apart, but to just take a breath with them and to sing with them and to invite Shabbos into them. You can join us on your inserts, number 1.
Anna
turn together to the Chadodi on page 20. And just an invitation as we welcome the Shabbos beloved. We will, at the 9th verse, rise or roll or move as or if we're comfortable to the doors that open out onto 50th Street and go and meet her there and welcome her, usher them, usher him back into this room. And just an invitation, what do you want to meet Shabbat this week with? What do you want to bring either to that 9th verse or out onto 50th Street? Feelings, confusion, excitement, whatever it might be, an invitation to bring it with us into song. We're on page 20. עושייך, ורחקו כל מבלעייך, יהסיסייך אלוהי, כמסוס חתן על חתן. איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת כלה, איי 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 בנשמה, בנשמה נקבלה, איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת כלה, איי 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 בנשמה, בנשמה נקבלה, ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, בית אדוני תריסי, אל ירגיש בן פרצי, ונשמחה ונגילה. איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת כלה, איי 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 בנשמה, בנשמה נקבלה, איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת כלה, איי 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 בנשמה, בנשמה נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובשמחה. תוך אמוני תחזק בעלה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת כלה, איי 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 בנשמה, בנשמה נקבלה, איי 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 לך דודי, איי איי לקראת כלה, איי 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 בנשמה, בנשמה נקבלה. Thank you for everybody who made sure the Shabbos beloved could come in tonight. There was a brief moment where it was looking like the door was going to stay closed, and then the community just whoosh, opened it, and there was something that made it really feel like Shabbos arrived tonight. Like we let them in. And now they're here because we've closed the door, so they're in the room with us. I'm going to invite us to call one another into prayer. On page 28, I invite you to root or rise as is comfortable for your body.
Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Baruch hu et Adonai Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach, Hamevorach Leolam Vaed. Hamevorach, Hamevorach Leolam Vaed.
Invite you to be seated. As we turn to the words on page 30, I want to invite us to find a window to look out of. We have a few, some with shades drawn, some with shades wide open, and want to invite you to count or notice the number of colors you can see in the window right now. All the different shades of green, of blue, of yellow, of gray. And in a moment, we'll bless the light, the night, the day, the absence, the presence, and an invitation to just let the color in. There's a lot of conversation in the Mishnah and Gemara about when we can say the first prayers of our day. And it's all about when we can start to see different colors begin to differentiate themselves in the sky, which really, I think, is an invitation to look out at the sky, to look out at the land around us. And so as we say these words on page 30, just an invitation to welcome in all the different shades, all the gradients, all of the bright light, all of the dim light, and all of the places in between. We're on page 30. We are 6 lines up from the bottom. Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzevahot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamidim lo chaleinu leolam vaed, Baruch atah Adonai, Amari v'aravim. We'll turn to page 32 and offer our blessings for a love that is expansive and wide, and it incorporates every color outside the windows, every color we can see and not see, a love that just keeps going and is always here for us in the day and in the night, when we rise up and when we lie down. We're on page 32. Ki chem chayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem nege yomam v'layla ve'havatecha al tesir mimenu leolamim Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Israel. Invite you to root or rise on page 34 for the Shema. Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. page 36.
את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We'll turn to the words of Mi Chamocha on page 40.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות, אוסף אלה נורא תהילות, אוסף אלה.
We'll turn together to the words of Hashkivenu on page 42. And because I've been thinking a lot about leaves tonight, I want to imagine us rooting into a tree as we sing that's spreading. Hashkivenu is a song of shelter, of peace, of canopy, and an invitation to find yourself in one of the trunks, one of the branches, one of the leaves, and we imagine our voice extending over everyone in need of shelter, of canopy, of care. We're on page 42.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Behamidenu Shomreinu l'chaim Ufros aleinu Sukat shlomecha Letachnenu B'tzatov milfanecha Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Behamidenu Shomreinu l'chaim
invite us to root or to rise, as is our comfort, on page 44.
Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
ביני ובין בני אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
כי ששת ימים
עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. I invite you to stay risen if you're standing, and we'll come into our silent prayer, into our Amidah. Invitation to follow the words on the page or the words of your heart. We'll start on page 46 and we'll return together on page 62. we'll take a moment to offer prayers of healing. And this is one of the reasons why I really like davening in a circle or an almost circle. Because in a moment, I'm going to invite us to take a deep breath in, and on our out breath, to bring their names into the room. And I want to imagine bringing all of their names into the center of our circle, where they can be held in healing and blessing and song and gentleness. So in just a moment, we'll bring their names into our circle, and then we'll offer our prayers for healing, which you can find on number 2 on your Siddur inserts. So I invite you to join me in taking a deep breath in and then bringing all of the names for those here praying for healing into the room.
Mariah's sister, her family, my mom. When the world is sick, can no one be well? But I dreamt we were all beautiful and strong. Oh, Elna, Refanala. Oh, Elna, Refanala.
Hi, friends. Shabbat Shalom. So this week, I'm going to say a sentence that you can say a lot in the Torah, which is that Moshe is faced with another big challenge. He's been through a lot. But this week, it's a little bit different. God has just informed Moshe that he's not going to cross the river, the Yarden, the Jordan, into the land where everybody is going. Moshe is going to die in the desert like his siblings, Aharon and Miriam, did. The generation who took us out of Egypt are not the same ones that take us into the land. Really, like when I read those words that God says to Moshe, I just, like my heart opened and broke and felt deeply for him. And I would understand if Moshe's response to God saying that to him would have been to take it a little badly. I just wouldn't begrudge Moshe anger or sorrow or complaint or argument if he had said, what the heck, after all I've led the people through, I'm not going to go to the land? I would have replied, fair argument, Moshe. I hear you. And if God themselves had said, Moshe, you have to lead the people into the land. They've known no other leader that cared for them except for you. I would have said, fair position, God. But God says no. God says, you'll stay here in the wilderness. And this moment, Moshe has just received this news from God. And Moshe turns to God, and before he opens his mouth to speak, the narration in the Torah does something really, really interesting to me. It says, Vayadaber Moshe el Adonai lemor. And Moshe spoke to God, saying. And now, if you've spent time reading Torah in Hebrew, that might be a familiar phrase to you, except it usually goes the other direction. Vayadaber Adonai el Moshe lemor. God spoke to Moshe, saying, which is said approximately, don't quote me on this, 1 million times in the Torah. But in this moment, Moshe steps up to God almost as an equal. Moshe addresses God and says, okay, Okay, if that's the case, then here's what's going to happen. Moshe is going to issue a directive to God. And it's not just how Moshe speaks that intrigues me, but the first sentence of his response caught my attention, and it turns out it's caught a lot of people's attention over history. So Moshe turns to God, and he says, Yifkod Adonai Elohei haruchot lechol basar, ish al ha'eda. May God, the God of the spirits of all the flesh, haruchot lechol basar, the spirits of all the flesh, make a person who is accountable upon the community. He's just received the news. He's not going to cross the river, and that's the first thing he says. And there are so many rabbinic questions over the centuries we could choose to focus on, but you don't want to be here all night, so I'm going to pick one. Rashi, who's a prolific commentator on the Torah from the 12th century from France, says about this, Elohei haruchot, lama ne'mar. Wait, God of the Spirit? Why does it say that? He just says, why on earth would the text say this? In other words, Moshe could have said, the God of all flesh. That would be true. But instead, Moshe brings haruchot, the spirit of the people, into the conversation. Why? Why would he do that? Rashi then, as he's wont to do, starts to answer his own question. He doesn't always answer his own question, but he often likes to. And he pulls from a midrash that imagines Moshe expanding this statement to God and saying, Ribono shel olam, galui lefanecha dato shel kol echad ve'echad, ve'enan domin ze leze. Mane alehem manhig sheyeh sovel kol echad ve'echad lefi dato. So, Master of the universe, the dot, or the mind, the personality, the individuation of every person is revealed before you. And you know that each one isn't like the other. They're all different from each other, every single person. Appoint upon them, for them, with them, a leader that will accept each and every one according to their own mind and their own personality. In Rashi's imagination, Moshe includes the word ruchot, specifically because a leader must be present with the individuality, the differentiation, the complexity of each and every person. And all these people, with all their different personalities and traits, are just going to respond to the world differently. Thank God. Can you imagine if we all responded to the world exactly the same? So who's the leader, says Moshe? Someone who's not threatened by plurality, by difference, but is enriched by it. In this framework, leadership means multiplicity, it means agency, it means difference, and the goal of leadership is not to align everyone towards some magical singular approach, but rather to support the unfolding of many, many different approaches. Now, Moshe was not always ready to say that. Moshe has been working on this lesson for a very long time. And in the early days of his leadership in the Midbar, in the wilderness, where at the very beginning of those 40 years, his father-in-law comes to visit him and takes a look at what's going on and says, no, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. And the reason he gives is you're going to be so worn out if you try to do this alone. You simply can't carry it all by yourself. In other words, he says to Moshe right at the beginning, you need everybody. If everybody needs you, then you also need everybody, and you can't do this alone. Leadership is shared. And Moshe isn't alone in wrestling with leadership in the Tanakh. It takes him a while. It takes him a while to incorporate his father-in-law's advice. And so much of the Torah is wrestling with this question Moshe is also wrestling with. What makes a good leader? Do we even need formal human leadership? And what are, crucially, the extents of leadership? Later in Tanakh, when the people demand Shmuel for a king, he goes to God, and God just sighs in exasperation and tells Shmuel that that's a really bad idea. And God says to Shmuel, you can tell the people they can have a king only if you put a cigarette box warning on it that says this is a bad idea. You can still have it, but we need to acknowledge that there's something here that's not good for the health. I'm serious. I can if you find me, you can find the positive. It doesn't say cigarette box warning, but this tension, this desire for a single leader and a recognition. This desire for a single leader and the recognition of a world of multiplicity without singular leaders is at the heart of the Torah. And as I sat with Moshe's first words, not being about preserving his own leadership, but rather about the multiplicity of the people, I kept finding myself transported back to the No Kings rally in March at the Capitol, which I was there with some of you from Shir Tikvah. And up on the stage, there were a lot of speakers who had a lot of things to say about leadership. They talked a lot about leadership. And I noticed that there were two really different kind of semantic fields that were being presented about leadership. And they were a little bit in tension with each other. The first was about the importance of finding and following leaders. Somebody, forgive me, I can't remember who, maybe somebody will remind me, said that Minnesota is filled with leaders, and we just have to lift up the leaders and follow their lead. The recommendation was like, find your leaders and follow them. Okay, not a bad message. And I think it might be a little incomplete. A number, I would even say a majority of people who spoke highlighted a different kind of leadership. And I keep going back to one person, Natalie Eret, I hope I'm saying her name right, I might not be, who is a leader in Haven Watch, who supported people upon their release from ICE detention. And when she spoke at the Capitol, she highlighted a moment where she came back to her car. She was at the Whipple building. She came back to her car. It was chaos around her. And when she got to her car, her son was in the car, sitting with somebody who had just been released from detention with no phone, nothing that they needed. And he was sitting in the car with her, finding her a way home. And what Natalie told about that story was the moment where she realized she could just do that. She could just do that. She didn't have to ask anyone for permission. There didn't have to be a structure. Nobody needed to tell her that that was the right thing to do. She could just follow her own ruach, her own spirit, her own da'at, her own individuation of knowing that that was the way that she could show up and help in that moment. And hearing her and a myriad of other people who shared similar experiences, I was so moved. And it helped me name something that has been deeply, deeply transformative. Over these past few months, the learning we can simply do what needs to be done. We don't always need singular leaders to authorize us. Together with our neighbors, we have the right to step up and just take care of one another and to lead one another. And our ruchot, our spirits, our multiplicity of approaches will ensure that everything that needs to get done can get done. And these are two paradigms of leadership. They feel different, and there's space for them to overlap, but they ask different things of us. In one, we look towards good and courageous leaders to authorize our actions. In another, we develop a muscle of internal agency and a capacity to lead ourselves towards intervention and change in crucial moments. Of course, it is difficult to permanently exist in the kind of self-directed agency that we experienced during the ongoing crisis we continue to experience in our state. But leadership isn't static, teaches the Torah. This is why God says to Moses, you can't carry the people across the river. Leadership has to change in different moments. There's no singular model of leadership that will always serve us. And now, at this moment, we have a new challenge in front of us. What steps do we take? How do we integrate the new kinds of leaderships we've learned to step into and take on over the course of the last many months in Minnesota? In the Shabbat, I'm sitting with the question of how I continue to grow this skill of radical responsiveness, I want to call it, a different model of leadership, and a friend, I think, to what we do here, haknasat orchim, radical hospitality. Simultaneously, we also wish to find leaders. I want to find leaders that I trust and learn from, and I have as we move through these times. And we have a moment right now, even as we are still experiencing a crisis, to explore, I think, what God is asking from us, all of us, everybody in this room as leaders right now. Where do we need to step down to make space for new leaders or to refresh ruchot, weary souls? How can we reflect on the moments where we missed a mark because we didn't feel empowered to step up and do what was needed? Where are our stories about leadership calcified or unchanging? Where might we explore new ways of thinking and different patterns of dreaming? How do we, each of us, become the leader Moshe described, one who is deeply accountable and flexible and open to the difference of each person? And you'll notice that I listed a lot of questions and I gave no answers. You have to watch out. Rabbis have to edit our work, so it's not just one string of questions. We have to say something in between the questions. But I leave that in tonight because I hope that we can all be chavrutot, we can be learning partners to each other in these coming weeks, this Shabbos and beyond. I feel curiosity and hope about all of the answers and approaches we'll generate, and also comforted by knowing there's no singular answer. And if there is, the only answer is change. Change is the inevitable being in our lives and our relationships. This multiplicity, this wide open expanse, this is at the heart of Yitro's advice to Moshe. This thing is too heavy, and you just simply can't carry it by yourself. We need all of us, all of our ruchot, all of our agency, all of our da'at, all of our thinking and our thoughts and our attention and our presence. And I'm grateful to be in this midbar, in this wilderness of exploring with each of you. And I hope we can continue to lead ourselves and one another through it together in a myriad of ways. Shabbat shalom. I invite you to join us on the back of your supplement, number 3. Amalach hagoeloti, Amalach hagoeloti mikol ra, yevarech et hane'arim, ve'yitkarev behem shemi, ve'shem avotai, ve'shem avotai, Avraham ve'Yitzhak, ve'yigul harov, ve'yigul harov, bekerev haaretz. Yismechem Elohim kesara, kerivka, kerachel, uchelea, ke'Ephraim ve'chi Menashe. Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yihuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May we stop asking permission to help each other. May we learn to love beyond all reason, giving us the path towards leadership for all of us. May we stop waiting for permission to help each other. May we do good regardless of the rules and systems we feel bound by. May we lead when we can and follow those who are worthy. May we use our ruach at the right time for the righteous reasons. May we feel divine support to clear those barriers that are strewn between us. Yadadai, yadadai, ay, oh. Yadadai. We'll turn towards the close of our service to the words of the Hashevota on page 284. Invite you to root or to rise. us to be seated if we're risen. We'll turn in a moment to the words of Kadisha Tome of Mourner's Kaddish. But first, we take a moment in the community to sing the words of Oseh Shalom and to call out for peace in Israel and Palestine, in Lebanon, in Syria, in Iran, in Iraq, and an entire region in need of shelter and peace, and need of care and attention to the preciousness of human life. We'll sing together. Oseh Shalom bimromav, Yaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, I'll share the names of those we're remembering in Shloshim and the first 30 days after someone's loss, and Yartzites, the yearly anniversary markers of someone's loss. And I want to invite you to raise your hand if and as you hear a name where you want to share a story. And maybe, perhaps, could I ask a favor? Could you run this microphone? You don't have to run. You can walk. You can move at whatever pace you want to folks who might want to share.
Sure.
Amazing. I'm going to pass that off to you. And can I borrow this microphone?
Of course, yes.
Can we play a little microphone shuffle?
Let's do it.
And then at the end of our communal list, oh, this mic sounds very different. Ooh, it's alive. At the end of our community list, I'll invite you to please share the names who aren't already on our list to bring them into community. Tonight, we are remembering the Shloshim of Dorothy Zimmerman, the mother of Fran Zimmerman, Marvin Jacobs, the father of Julie Jacobs, Heidi Foster, partner of Izzy Buckner. We're remembering the yahrzeit of Virginia Shedlov, grandmother of Dan Friedman Shedlov, Pamela Gates, mother of Brian Trubowitz, Lorraine Tilson, mother of Ariella Tilson, Mabel Goyam Nordstrom, grandmother of Dennis Gillam, Farron Rebecca Loeb, sister of Liz Loeb, Mark Liliadahl, uncle of Ari Liliadahl, Walter Hiller, father of Carolyn Hiller, Catherine Roller, grandmother of Samantha Roller.
My grandmother died on July 4th, 2012. That was her Independence Day. And, it was only in the year leading up to her death that I really became close to her. And that year was a really special time for me. She taught me a lot about nature and life and love of God and womanhood too. And I really appreciate her.
Daniel Cohn, brother of Jessica Cohn.
So my brother died when I was just a baby. He was 5 and he had cancer, and I was just 6 months old, so I didn't really get to know him. But I've shared this before on his yahrzeit. I recovered some old videos and digitalized them in the past few years, and I've been watching with my mom, who's 100, still alive. Beautiful videos of him when he was a baby and a toddler, and also when he was sick. And they're adorable, and I feel like I've kind of gotten to know him a little bit, doing just sweet things, feeding a puppy, rocking a boat with my sister, who is a year or 2 older than him. So I feel like I sort of know him, and it's very sweet. Oh, and Liam has a middle name after my brother Daniel.
Lawrence Falb, father of Roseanne Fish, Ernest Feller, grandfather of Clark Roman. Adam Morris, son of Fred and Wendy Morris and brother of Max and Jack. Sheila Field, mother of Andrea Furston. Scott Fetter, brother of Wendy Henry. Howard Hansen, father of Pamela Goldman. Ethel Erstling, mother of Jay Erstling. Nicole Hubertis, sister of Lisa Hubertis and sister-in-law of Julie Jacobs. Robert Bob Timothy Wilson, father of Leah Robertson. Roger Hacker, cousin of Sheldon Berkowitz. Louis Werson, grandfather of Ellen Werson. Earl Rosado, brother-in-law of Lorraine Luger and Dennis Gilliam. Rabbi B.T. Rubenstein, father of Jim Rubenstein. Armand Godin, father of Andre Godin. G. Theodore Mitau, father of Andrea Kircher. Helen Hopman, mother of Jean Hopman Whipple. Joe Zuckerman, father of Jeffrey Zuckerman. Larry Levy, father of Carolyn Levy. Goldie Schwartz, grandmother of Adon Schwartz. And Maxwell Canson, father of Lucy Canson. Are there any names that aren't on our list tonight? Thank you.
Hi. We're celebrating the first-year anniversary of my mother-in-law's passing, so my in-laws are in town, and my husband is over there. My mother-in-law was just the most positive person I've ever met. Not everyone is so lucky to have such a good relationship with their mother-in-law, and I just feel so lucky that she was just such a wonderful force in our life. And we miss her terribly, and she didn't get to meet our daughter, so we're just we're really grieving.
Will you share her name with us?
Yeah, Pamela Gates.
Like a week and a half ago, was the anniversary of my grandma's death. She died before I was born, like a year and a half before I was born. So I never got to meet her, but I always grew up with a lot of stories about her. And my mom will tell me like the ways I'm like her, the ways we would have gotten along or not gotten along. So, yeah.
My cousin Samuel Klein.
Former state representative Karen Clark passed away earlier this week, and I don't know what her connection to Shir Tikvah was, but I saw a picture of her here, so just wanted to bring up her name as well.
Pamela Gates was my wife for, would have been coming up to be 43 years this August. She died July 9th last year, and we had an interfaith marriage 43 years ago. It was tough to find a rabbi who would marry us, but we found a cantor and a Methodist minister who married us, and we raised our children Jewish. And one of highlights, my wife felt very well accepted into the Jewish faith, and one of her highlights of her life was when we went to Israel, and she had a bat mitzvah ceremony on Masada, and we miss her dearly.
I'll invite us to root or rise together on page 294. Thank you so much. Yitzgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hirute v'yamlich malchute, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם עולמי עולמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דלמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. Invite you to please be seated if you're risen, and I would love to hand the mic to Samantha. Can I invite you up here to share some announcements?
Certainly. Good Shabbat y'all, Erev Tov. It's a sweet blessing to be with you all. My name is Samantha Roller. As always, I will ask you, please separate your song sheets from your CD-ream. Do our ushers a solid back there. Thanks to all who made tonight possible, our rabbis, our prayer leaders, Ethan, Marin, the McComb Minion, Julie Jacobs, Lori Sweet, and thank you to Jonah Rothstein Security for your steady presence this evening. And thanks to Jenna Whitehouse for sponsoring Onig this evening, and in honor of her 40th birthday. You can find all of our Shir Tikvah programming and updates in the weekly e-news and on the website. Next week's Shabbat service will be max recommended. If this isn't the best fit for you, please join us on Zoom. We have exciting new adult education classes starting in the next few weeks. Join Rabbis Jason Joey to learn about Jewish food practices and Jewish history. Check out the e-news and adult education section of Shir Tikvah's website to learn more. Join us for our next community Shabbat, followed by a potluck lunch on Saturday, July 18th at 10:30. The library committee is looking for volunteers for a 2-day project to relabel and sort all of our books. Doesn't that sound fun? This event takes place on Friday, July 17th from 11 to 4, and Saturday, July 18th from 12 to 4. We'd love for you to join 1 hour or for several. Lunch will be provided on Friday. Please RSVP using the link in the Shir Tikvah website or in the flyers on the Onig Hall. And as always, a reminder that your community is here to support you, so please reach out to the rabbi if you encounter a life change so they can activate the Shir Tikvah network of support. Shabbat Shalom, y'all.
If you've ever thought to yourself, maybe I do want to be a librarian, you can come and help be our librarian. I'll invite, it's time. I'll invite the Kiddush and the Motzi into the room. We're going to bless some challah and we're going to bless some grape juice. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu Zikaron lemase v'reshit ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim ki vanu b'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim V'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat l'chaim. Okay, I'm going to invite us, if and as you feel comfortable, I'm going to bring the challah up. And If anybody who wants to put their hands on somebody else's shoulder or hand, ask as you feel comfortable. We're going to make a little chain around the room to the challah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon. Good Shabbos, friends. Take a bite.
You'll find the closing song. Whoa, is this on? Is this on? Is this on? The top of 339. We'll start with the Nigun style.
Shamayim ba'aretz.